Happy Easter to the entire crypto fam. Hope you're enjoying your holiday with your family. In today's show, we'll be discussing Bitcoin mining difficulty hitting yet another all-time high for the fourth time thus far this year. I'll be explaining why. In breaking news just in, Texas lawmakers propose a gold-backed state digital currency. That's right. The bill states that the trustee must hold a sufficient amount of gold in reserve for all units of digital currency that have been issued and are in circulation. And quoting Max Kaiser, the growing hostile global backlash against CBDCs will catapult Bitcoin to a new all-time high. In the short term, he says everything points to a Bitcoin new all-time high. Also in today's show, more breaking news. A bill protecting Bitcoin mining rights passes in Arkansas Senate and in the House. That's right. The Arkansas Data Centers Act is now moving to the governor's office for approval. It grants crypto miners in the state the same rights as data centers. Also in today's show, Coin Bureau names catalyst for a huge bull run and says crypto can see massive interest outside of the United States. Also breaking news, though Kwon converted all of his assets in South Korea to Bitcoin shortly before his arrest. I'll be breaking down this latest report, as well as crypto analyst predicts a meteoric rally for Bitcoin to surge to 130,000 this year and says that a Bitcoin expansion has begun. I'll be breaking down his analysis. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more, in today's show. Welcome, everyone. Happy Easter. This is podcast episode number 1246. I'm your host, JV, and today is April 9th, 2023. Let's kick off today's show with a market watch. You can see Bitcoin maintaining at that $28,000 critical level we have been stuck at for quite some time. We got Ethereum and many of the alts currently pulling back and in the red, with Ether down 1.4%, trading at $1,844. And checking out coinmarketcap.com, the current crypto market cap sitting at $1.17 trillion with $28 billion in volume in the past 24 hours. Bitcoin dominance on the rise at 46% even, with the Ether dominance slightly on the decline at 18.9%. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers in the past 24 hours, INJ leading the pack up 4%, trading at $5.72, followed by Mask up 2%, trading at $5.51, followed by XDC up 2%, trading just above 4.1 cents. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers for the past week, you can see a sea of red, which is a handful in the green, which include INJ up 4.5%. We have COS up 2.8% and XRD up 3.1%. And checking out one of my favorite indicators, the Crypto Greed and Fear Index, shows we're currently rated a 61 greed. Yesterday a 61, last week a 63, and last month a 34 in fear. So there you have it. How many of you are currently bullish on the King Crypto for Easter? Let me know in the comments below. And now let's break down today's Bitcoin technical analysis and check out what's happening. The Bitcoin mining difficulty moved to an all-time high on April 6th, just a few days ago, following the most recent mining difficulty adjustment on its blockchain network. The mining difficulty rose for the fourth consecutive time and reached 47.8 trillion, which is another increase of 2.3%. The Bitcoin mining difficulty automatically adjusts every 2016 blocks, which is approximately every 2 weeks. To maintain the 10-minute block creation time, there has been a steady increase in mining difficulty in the recent weeks, with the last downward trend recorded on February 11th, the day of my birthday. Yeah, let's go. One of the consequences it reflected is the hash price, which is the rate of profit which miners make for the hash rate that they provide to the Bitcoin network. So in theory, a higher mining difficulty leads to a lower hash price. This is because more miners are contributing computing power than normal, leading to a more competition for the rewards that the Bitcoin network provides miners that produce the new blocks on the network. Also remind you, less than a year away to the next Bitcoin halving in 2024. And furthermore, the Bitcoin hash rate or processing power can indicate the degree of mining difficulty. And at the time of the mining difficulty adjustment that preceded the latest one, the Bitcoin hash rate was also at a record high, leading to increased mining difficulty. And as Max Kaiser commonly shares, the hash rate is ultimately a lagging indicator of the Bitcoin price action, ultimately meaning that the fundamentals have never been stronger. And also, Bitcoin has appreciated by more than 50% since the start of 2023. I think it's actually closer to 70%, FYI, leading to calls for a bullish market. And unsurprisingly, this positive trend has led many miners reconnecting their equipment after a very difficult 2022. Talk about the collapse of Terra Luna and subsequent fallout from FTX led to significant bearish pressure on the market, with several coins taking steep price declines. Bitcoin was one of the coins to dip, leading to a difficulty year for the miners, with many having to sell their equipment or shut down operations to stay afloat. However, this year, the bull run of 2023 has raised expectations from the miners that the market could be on its way to the previous levels. And nonetheless, the crypto mining sector has not been without its difficulties, with friendly places like Texas and the United States planning to tighten regulations on electricity that could affect the booming sector soon. So there you have it. And yeah, welcome everyone just tuning in, and happy Easter. Hope you're having a fantastic time. Let's now break down our next story of the day and discuss what's happening in Texas. That's right. Texas lawmakers proposed a gold-backed state digital currency. Check it out. 2 Texas lawmakers have introduced identical bills for creating a state-based digital currency backed by gold, a move that comes despite objections from several U.S. lawmakers against introducing a central bank digital currency. We have Senator Brian Hughes, who introduced Senate Bill 2334 on March 10th, with Representative Mark D'Orazio introducing House Bill 4903 the same day, stating that a fractional equivalent amount of physical gold would back the proposed digital currency. Quoting him here, each unit of the digital currency issued represents a particular fraction of a troy ounce of gold held in the trust, which this bill clearly states. Now, the bill also explains that once a person purchases a certain amount of digital currency, the comptroller would use that money received to buy an equivalent amount of gold. The purchaser would then receive digital currency equal to the amount of gold that the comptroller purchases with the money received from the purchaser. The value of the unit of digital currency must be equal to the value of the appropriate fraction to a troy ounce of gold at the time of the transaction. The trustee shall maintain enough gold to provide for the redemption in gold of all units of the digital currency that have been issued and are not yet redeemed for money or gold, the bill stated. It was added that a fee might be established at any rate necessary to cover the cost of administrating this chapter. And although neither of the bills have been passed or presented for a vote, both state that this act will take effect September 1st of this year. Now, several United States lawmakers have recently argued against the U.S. introducing a central bank digital currency. Florida Governor DeSantis stated in a March 20th press conference that CBDCs would grant more power to the government, adding that it provides the government with a direct view of all consumer activities. And also, Republican Senator Ted Cruz introduced a bill to block the Fed from launching a direct-to-consumer CBDC, stating that it's more important than ever to ensure that the U.S. policy on digital currencies protects financial privacy and maintains the dollar's dominance and cultivates innovation. So shout out to Ted Cruz and DeSantis. And quoting Max Kaiser, the growing hostile global backlash against central bank digital currencies will catapult Bitcoin to a new all-time high in the short term. And he also reminds us that everything points to a Bitcoin new all-time high. So send it and let's freaking go. And again, welcome for y'all just tuning in. Now let's discuss this Bitcoin mining bill in Arkansas, which is being introduced. A bill seeking to regulate Bitcoin mining activity in Arkansas passed the state House of Representatives and Senate. The bill will now move to the governor's office for approval. Let's go. According to the bill, the Arkansas Data Center Act of 2023 intends to regulate the Bitcoin mining industry in the American state, creating guidelines for miners and protecting them from discriminatory regulations and taxes. Arkansas state legislators quickly passed the bill after it was proposed on March 30th by Senator Joshua Bryant. The document recognizes that data center creates jobs, pays taxes, and provides general economic value to local communities, as outlined here in the bill. And as per the approved bill, a digital asset miner is required to pay applicable taxes and government fees in acceptable forms of currency and operate in a manner that causes no stress on the electric public utilities generation capabilities or transmission network. And under the legislation, crypto miners will also have the same rights as data centers. The bill outlines that Arkansas's government should not impose a different requirement for a digital asset mining business than is applicable to any requirement for a data center. Arkansas's move follows a similar initiative in the state of Montana. In late March, Montana Senate passed a bill to protect crypto miners operating within the state. The bill intends to protect miners against taxes on digital assets used for payments and to eliminate energy rates discriminating against home crypto miners and digital asset businesses. The state of Texas went in a different direction, and Senate Committee on Business Commerce passed legislation on April 4th that would essentially remove incentives for miners operating under the state's crypto-friendly regulatory environment. An even more decisive move came from New York in November of last year when Governor Kathy Hochul signed the Proof of Work Mining moratorium into law, banning crypto mining activities in the state for 2 years. That sucks. It sucks for New York. On a federal level, crypto miners in the U.S. could eventually be subject to a 30% tax on electricity costs under a budget proposed introduced by March 9th by Sleepy Joe Biden, aimed to reduce mining activity. So it seems very clear to me that people like Sleepy Joe and the state of New York do not want these Bitcoin miners. They want to propose sanctions where they're being taxed ridiculously, like an additional 30%. To me, this shows that they're trying to basically get rid of Bitcoin mining so it moves abroad and overseas. So it's good to see places like Arkansas and Texas and wherever, Wyoming, Montana, making strides to embrace crypto mining activity, as obviously it is tremendously healthy and good for the entire crypto ecosystem as well as Bitcoin adoption. But with that being shared, now let's break into our next story of the day, and we shall discuss the Bitcoin bull run could see massive interest outside of the US. That's right. In a new video update, Guy Turner, the host of Coin Bureau, tells us 130,000 subs that regulators are sorting themselves out, which can serve as the next spark for an industry-wide expansion. Let's go. Quoting him here, certainly if we did see some good regulations in the US, if the US politicians came to their senses and the SEC sorted itself out, then yeah, that can be a catalyst for a long bull run. But don't hold your breath. Turner says he expects a bull market to start sometime next year, but notes that a potential drawn-out legal battle between the SEC and Coinbase in court doesn't necessarily mean good regulations are on the horizon. Earlier in the month, the SEC issued a Wells notice, or a memo, informing Coinbase that it may force an enforcement action from the regulator. Quoting them here, when you have capital being allocated towards Bitcoin and Ethereum and altcoins, Bitcoin and Ethereum, the altcoins tend to lose out. So I think that's why we're not seeing huge pumps for alts at the moment, and I honestly don't think we will until, as I said, that the bull market comes back. Probably next year. There's a danger that Coinbase and the SEC could be facing off in court for a very long time. However, I don't think necessarily that would be a sudden raft of decent regulations and an end of the possible Coinbase suit. Remember, if Ripple's anything to go by, a Coinbase suit could drag on for years. So there are those things to consider, and he makes a good point. I also think we could see a bull run regardless if neither of those things come to pass, even if we don't get regulatory clarity in the US. Guy says that overseas interest in crypto assets is on the rise, particularly in Asia, as Hong Kong is set to legalize crypto trading in the coming months. Quoting him again, there are a lot of people at the moment who believe that the next bull run is going to come from Asia in particular. And remember, Hong Kong is legalizing crypto trading this summer in just a couple of months' time. So I think we are likely to see a lot of renewed interest in crypto from Asia and elsewhere. So there you have it. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the analyst and watch this video he did entitled When Bull Market Altcoins and BRICS Currency. Check the show notes below the video in the description. And now let's break down our next story of the day, discuss the latest what Kwon is doing, and with him converting all of his assets into Bitcoin right before his arrest, according to this report. And then we'll break down Credible Crypto's very bullish $130,000 Bitcoin price prediction for this year in 2023, followed by some live Q&A. So let's dive right in, shall we? Check it. South Korean authorities have reportedly found the embattled Terraform Labs CEO and co-founder Do Kwon has zero assets in his home country. Local media outlet KBS reports that prosecutors have been tracking the domestic wealth of Terraform Labs executives to collect the profits that they've allegedly accumulated from Terra's Luna ecosystem. Kwon and his associates reportedly acquired a total of 414 billion won, or about $314 million, with the Terraform Labs CEO holding 91.4 billion won, estimated to be $69 million of U.S. funds. Now, South Korean authorities have already frozen the properties of Terraform co-founder Shin Hwen Song and others. However, they are not able to freeze any of Kwon's assets because the disgraced crypto executive appears to have converted most of his properties into Bitcoin. That's right. Kwon also sent the crypto stack to the exchange outside of South Korea, according to this report, says a prosecution official. According to KBS, it has been found out there's very little property formed and owned by CEO Kwon in the country. The report says that prosecutors have already asked Binance to block Kwon from withdrawing any of his crypto assets on the exchange. The South Korean authorities issued the warrant for Kwon in September following the collapse of Luna and UST in May of 2022. He went on the run but was arrested more recently at the airport in Montenegro last month while attempting to board a flight to Dubai using a fake Costa Rican passport. You can't make this stuff up. You would think he would just be laying low instead of traveling with false documents, Now, Kwon is currently being held in this place as he awaits investigations over his use of forged travel documents. How do you think things are likely to play out for Do Kwon? Let me know in the comments below. And is that Matthew? I appreciate the super chat contribution. He says, pump it up. Much love and much respect. And that's precisely what we're going to do. We'd love to see a continued price pump heading towards back above 29,000. So far, the height for the cycle for this year is 29.2. I feel once we could collectively break that, then 30,000 and above is inevitable and only a matter of time. Now let's dive into the moment you've all been waiting for. Break down this $130,000 prediction. A widely followed crypto strategist, Credible Crypto, says a massive Bitcoin rally to a fresh all-time high is already underway. Send it. Synonymous Analyst Credible tells his 340,000 Twitter followers he believes Bitcoin's in the early stages of a big bull run following a long bottoming out period last year. According to Credible, Bitcoin's price action between June to December of last year is the longest consolidation period for Bitcoin in the last 4 years. Quoting him here alongside this chart, expansion has begun, this time following a consolidation period that was 30% longer than our last major rallies in 2019 and 2020. If you thought those rallies were strong, wait till you see the next one. Now, Credible previously said that the period of relatively low volatility consolidation is necessary to build a stable base for ensuing a Bitcoin rally. Quoting him again, it's supposed to be boring. It's a part of the process. The more boring it gets, the better it is for the coming expansion. And with the bottoming process now out of the way, Credible thinks that Bitcoin is already in the midst of a major fifth wave surge. Quoting him again here alongside this chart. Now that our fourth wave is complete, I've updated the chart with the completed time for our fourth wave. We can see that once again, invalidation 14,000 was never hit, and our major fifth looks to have begun. That's right. Credible is a popular practitioner of the Elliott wave theory, an advanced technical analysis approach that attempts to predict the future price action by following crowd psychology that tends to manifest in waves. And according to the theory, a bullish asset goes through a 5-wave uptrend where wave 1, 3, and 5 are periods of the rise in price. And looking at his chart, he appears to be predicting a Bitcoin massive rally towards 130,000 level before the end of this year. So there you have it. Let me know if you agree or disagree with his bullish price prediction that we can witness a $130,000 new all-time high this year in 2023. And before we dive into some live Q&A, let's also discuss some other very bullish predictions. We also have Tim Draper, the billionaire venture capitalist, who's doubling down on his $250,000 price prediction. He is saying if not this year, then absolutely next year before the halving. We also have Max Kaiser, who has been calling for $220,000 Bitcoin price and a new all-time high almost religiously. We also have, Kathy Wood of ARK Invest, who's very bullish on Bitcoin, obviously predicting $1 million price action by the year 2030. We also have Balaji, the former Coinbase CTO, Chief Technology Officer, very optimistic that we'll see a $1 million Bitcoin price prediction by June 17th, because he made that prediction saying he literally bet $2 million on it, that the Bitcoin price hit $1 million within 90 days when he made that very optimistic bet. But what are your thoughts? Where do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to ascend to before the end of this year? And where do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to ascend to next year, the year of the halving? And then in 2025, when the market tends to go and hit its cycle peak, as history has shown us? Let me know your honest thoughts in the comments right down below. And now let's dive into some live Q&A, and welcome to everyone just tuning in. I appreciate y'all's support tremendously. Y'all are awesome. Matthew J, good morning. SpongeBob, and again, everyone, happy Easter. Bitcoin Maximus, good to see you, says smash. Love to hear that. Barry, good morning and welcome. SpongeBob, good morning and welcome. Bobby Bitcoin, welcome. He says, I kind of associate consensus to ETH as China is to the UN, both centralized control. There is no supply limit to ETH. Ask Vitalik for the number, and none to the UN. The supply is not capped, and you make a tremendous point. If you don't know what the supply is, that means they can just keep printing out of thin air. So, you know what I mean? I agree. Welcome, Matthew J. Always a pleasure, family. I appreciate all the retweets as well on crypto Twitter. Thank you for that. Satwise Jenks, good morning, bro. This is episode 1246. You got to love it. Sponge, there is a chart. I'll try to find it showing the ISO 2022, World Economic Forum tokens, and the role of consensus. Appreciate that resource. Maximus, good morning again. Sailing with Twins, always a pleasure. Happy Easter to you too, Maximus. I appreciate that. Good morning, fam, listening while driving. Thank you, Megadon. Always appreciate your support as always, and especially during the holidays. You guys are amazing. Yeah, and I appreciate you guys sharing that chart. Michael Gensler, I hope you shot it. Are you saying Gary Gensler has a brother named Michael? What are we talking about? What's the main hub and the layout? Yeah, man, Bitcoin Maximus, buy Bitcoin, pull off the exchange to the hardware wallet, preferably open source hardware wallet, rinse and repeat. That's right, and Trezor would be a great example of that. And I got to remind everyone, because I'm going to continue to do this every day, the same way I remind everyone that the Bitcoin halving is now less than a year out, and we're going to be counting down every day. Also, remove your crypto off the exchanges. Do not use a crypto exchange as a storage. It's not a safekeeping for your crypto, because if that exchange was attacked by a hacker, you can lose your crypto. If it was attacked by the government, you can lose your crypto. If it goes under, like FTX exploded and ended up being a tremendous $10 billion Ponzi scheme, you can lose your money and you're not going to get it back. The Easter Bunny is not going to return your funds. Oh, now I see Michael Glenzer is in the building, in the chat. So nothing to do with Gensler. My apologies. It kind of looked like a similar last name, and I kind of just struck a chord with that. What's up, family? Better late than never. Appreciate you tuning in. Victor Reyna, greatly appreciate that. Bitcoin Trini, good morning and welcome. And so I'm going to assume all of y'all got your crypto off the exchanges. The only reason to use the exchange is to make the exchange. So for example, if you want to convert, whatever, buy some Bitcoin and then take it off the exchange, put it on your cold wallet, or if you want to convert some Ether into Bitcoin, execute the trade, remove it off the exchange. Don't just blindly trust them, because that's the same thing as blindly trusting a bank. And I'd give the same advice on a crypto exchange as I would with keeping money, fiat money in the bank. Only keep in the bank what you're willing to lose. Same thing on the exchange. Only keep on the exchange what you're openly willing to lose. There's no benefit to not owning your private keys and giving them access to your crypto. You know what I mean? Execute the trade, takes 10 seconds, remove your crypto from the exchanges, or forever hold your peace. I just don't want any of my listeners to be in a position like we witnessed last year with FTX, where you're going to lose money because you had so much faith in Sam Bankman-Fried because of his so-called effective altruism. You know what I mean? And you thought this guy was the truth, but we were being played. He was colluding with Gary Gensler, the regulators, and ultimately committing crimes behind our back, taking investor funds and investing it in his other company, Alameda Research, which is a damn shame. And, so a lot of people lost a lot of money, and I'd hate to see that to happen to anyone else, especially with the knowledge, because once you have the knowledge, you just need to apply the knowledge, and that's where wisdom comes from, applied knowledge. You know what I mean? Let me know if you guys relate. And again, Matthew, I appreciate that super chat contribution. Joe Biden must go. Old Grazy. He's like, yeah, absolutely, dude needs to go. Matthew says 1.3 billion in FTX Bitcoin buys that never got used to buy Bitcoin. Miners are forced to sell with China miner ban. 40% of the miners are forced. Kwon should have used some of that money for plastic surgery. Right, SpongeBob? Maybe he should have become a transgender. Think anyone would have been able to recognize him? Probably. He's a very recognizable dude. I don't understand how he was so bold in traveling with fake forged documents, thinking he's not going to get recognized. To me, this is idiocracy, moronic. You know what I mean? Imbecile. Makes no sense. Probably could have continued to get away with it. I mean, he's been on the run for over a year, though he claims he hasn't been, but they've been looking for him for over a year. They finally got a hold of him, and it all came down to traveling with false documents. He could have just stayed quiet, got some plastic surgery, mind his own business, but some people never learn. It is what it is. Ego gets the best of a lot of people, fam. Godson, welcome. What could trigger Bitcoin to $30,000? Let's discuss it. First and foremost, we're currently trading at close to 28,000, so a $2,000 jump can happen in one candle. We've seen, I think we've seen a $10,000 daily candle before. So who's to say we can't just jump right on up to 30,000? What would spark that? Well, demand. Another major bank run could spark that. Scarcity of the Bitcoin supply, the fact that the Bitcoin halving is less than a year away. There's so many factors that can trigger that. The fact that the hash rate is at an all-time high, the network difficulty readjusts, the network fundamentals have never been stronger. These are all great indicators. Also, it's a great hedge against the dwindling value of the dollar. You know what I mean? Bitcoin has no top because The dollar has no bottom. You know what I mean? So many reasons. So those are some of the things that come from the top of my mind. Let me know what you guys think. You know what I mean? Let's go. Barry says June $25,000 Bitcoin, I hope. 40,000 Bitcoin. Do you mean 250,000? I'm not sure what you mean there. June, maybe you're saying 25,000 in June, but then 40,000. Let me know. Clarify that with me. Jeff says, good morning and happy Easter. Happy Easter, Jeff, and good morning. Appreciate you tuning in. I agree we hit 130, just not sure if it comes before the halving, says Matthew. 2024 spot ETF will put it over 100,000 quickly, in my opinion. So that's another catalyst. Thank you. Grayscale, currently in a lawsuit with the SEC to convert their Grayscale Bitcoin Trust into a Bitcoin spot ETF. Once we get that, there's literally trillions upon trillions of dollars from institutions sitting on the sidelines just awaiting to be invested into a spot Bitcoin ETF. The only reason they haven't been able to is because the regulators have been, you know what I mean, not allowing it to happen. But the regulators can only push it back for so long. My intuition tells me, I think in the year 2024, next year, a spot Bitcoin ETF will get approved. Once that happens, very easy six-figure price action. And I think that will happen in 2024. But you guys let me know your honest thoughts in the comments and I'll read them all out loud. One major company, Apple, or one major company buying Bitcoin and 30,000 will be there quick. 100%. So is it Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, came out and said, hey, we have a melting ice cube. We have hundreds of billions on the balance sheet. We no longer want this to be losing its power due to inflation. So we're going to hedge into Bitcoin the same way Michael Saylor did it as the first publicly traded company to put Bitcoin on his balance sheet, and they follow in their footsteps. Guess what frickin' happens? We can instantly just pump to a new all-time high because that's the power that this one company has because it's a juggernaut. And Dustin just sent me a $20 super chat contribution. I can't thank you enough. You guys are too kind. Appreciate the support. He says, keep up the good work. We'll absolutely do. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you're subscribed, hit the bell icon, turn on all notifications, and let's get to crypto, shall we? You know what I mean? Godson says, would love to watch your live trade. FYI, I'm not much of a trader. I'm a long-term hodler. I just stack Bitcoin for the long haul. I've been doing so since 2017, and it's worked out incredibly well, and I am so grateful for that. You know what I mean? I'm not an Ishcoin gambler at a casino. You know what I mean? The majority of my holdings is Bitcoin, and I just keep accumulating because I feel that's the safest strategy to have the fastest horse in the race with the least amount of risk. Because ultimately, that's what we do being a Bitcoiner. We're reducing the risk because a lot of the altcoin market is extremely unpredictable. But one thing I do know, Bitcoin has number go up technology. You know what I mean? Because of its true scarcity, there's truly a limited supply. We can't say the same thing about Ethereum. So naturally, over time, the price has to continue to go up. I was just looking at some throwbacks, and it showed you the price action of Bitcoin Easter every year for the past decade. And it was like 10 years ago, $4.50. Keep in mind, today we're at $28,000. Case closed. You know what I mean? Bitcoin 2024 ETF. Let's go. Send it. I feel you, dog. Wake me up when we get to 30,000. Exactly. I feel you. You know what I mean? Just the fact that the authorities said they can't do anything about Kwon moving all of his assets to Bitcoin is bullish as what? Exactly. And I heard this dude had like hundreds of millions of dollars worth of property. You know what I mean? And it just goes to show you all the scammers want to take your crypto, take your Bitcoin, I should say, and give you their Ishcoin. A great example would be what are we talking about? Terraform Labs do Kwon with Luna, you know what I mean? Or Luna Classic, whatever it's been rebranded to. And the same thing with Scam Bankman-Fried with FTT. He's taking your Bitcoin, giving you an Ishcoin, which is worth nothing, and then ultimately stealing that from you and stealing that from the people because they know where the true value is. The value is in Bitcoin. So many of these altcoin creators was the purpose of why they created their altcoin. Many of them to steal Bitcoin from you in exchange for their Ishcoin. I'm not saying all altcoins. Some altcoins are legitimate, have real world use cases. We know this. But the majority of them, considering there's over 20,000 alts out there, you do the math. What do you think? You know what I mean? Let me know. Most Ishcoins are not available in the US. That's true. If you go to Binance.com, you'll have a selection of over 500 Ishcoins to gamble in their casino. If you go to Binance US, you'll be limited maybe to 50, Ishcoins. I don't know. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. Good brother, happy Easter. Appreciate the Easter love. Hope you guys are enjoying it with your family. Yeah, it is what it is, fam. Much love. I appreciate the prayers. Much love and much respect. But anyways, now for a recap of what I covered with you here in today's show. We broke down the latest Bitcoin analysis. We also discussed that the Bitcoin mining difficulty hit yet another all-time high for the fourth time this year, and I explained why. I also shared breaking news that Texas lawmakers propose a gold-backed state digital currency. Also shared Max Kaiser quote, "The growing hostile global backlash against central bank digital currencies will catapult Bitcoin to a new all-time high in the short term." He also reminds us that everything right now is pointing to a Bitcoin new all-time high. Also in today's show, we discussed the bill protecting Bitcoin mining rights passed in Arkansas Senate and the House, which is another great omen for the king crypto. We also discussed Coin Bureau names the catalyst for a huge bull run and says that crypto could see a massive interest outside of the US, which is a no-brainer. We also discussed though Kwon converted all of his assets in South Korea to Bitcoin, the king crypto, shortly before his arrest. And we also discussed Credible Crypto's prediction of a meteoric rally for Bitcoin this year to 130,000 and says that the Bitcoin expansion has already begun. But where do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely